Bon dia, Astrid.
Hi, Victor. Good morning.
Good morning to you. We've been wanting to do this for a long time. For those of you who do not know, Ms. Astrid here has started a really cool venture that I had thought of doing maybe 20 years ago, and I never did it. I didn't have the partner to do it. And so when I saw what Astrid was doing, I thought this is a fantastic ecosystem to be doing it, and I'm very envious. Astrid, can you tell people a little bit about yourself, about the SIA, and we can then jump into some questions. So who is Astrid and what is the Startup Investment Accelerator?
Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I am Astghik Zakharyan, as already Victor mentioned, an entrepreneur by how I started this, an Armenian national by nationality. I'm quite passionate about the startup and investor ecosystem. I see a lot of opportunities here, and I see how things can be brought to life, how lives can change just by initiating things. I also see that this is excellent way of making dreams happen. So I'm really excited to be participating in this ecosystem and doing what I'm doing. SIA is an investor training program. It plays an ecosystem development role. So we help people to become angel investors so that we can invest in people's dreams and make a lot of new startups, new innovation happen.
Okay, so can you begin by telling us what is an angel investor and how is an angel investor different from other investors?
Thank you so much. What a great question. What a great thing to actually separate and differentiate. So an angel investor is a person who invests their personal money in a startup venture, which is a scalable by its form type of company. There are different kinds of investors. Some investors invest in property. They are called real estate investors. Some invest in stocks. You can also invest in startups, but not as an angel investor. Angel investor particularly is the person or the profession where the investment is going in for equity. Might be defined or not yet defined equity, but it's going into equity into early stage startups, typically.
Okay, so for those who do not know, is it fair to say that the difference between an angel investor and a venture capitalist is that the angel investor is putting her or his money into it rather than a VC who is basically pooling funds and then investing those funds together? Is that fair?
Absolutely, that's really accurate. But I would like to add something else. An angel investor is actually someone that also, ideally, the kind of angel investors we want to see in the ecosystem are there to bring extra value into the startup. So while a venture capital might have some connections or introductions available to be making for the startups, an angel investor's biggest asset is not their money actually, it's the support, the connections, the mentorship that they can provide to early stage startups. Again, angel investors come in before venture capital, so they don't cancel each other out. They just come at different stages. It just at an early stage startup founders specifically need a different type of support, more maybe emotional, more introductions, more business advice, helping to shape the business model or some strategy. And these are some specific things that angel investors are usually providing.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Why should somebody try angel investing?
Well, this depends. Every person's case for angel investing is a different reason. One might try because it's fun and they can learn a lot. Actually, you learn infinite amount of things by angel investing because first, you shouldn't invest unless you understand what you're investing in. And to understand what you're investing in, you need to do a lot of research, understand a lot of different businesses, understand a lot of different synergies that might not be typically what you're doing every day. So it gives a great learning opportunity. It also gives a really good financial opportunity, as I think more people are really drawn to that. It's a counter-cyclical asset class. So while real estate or stocks might be going up or down, startups are really not that much related to that other investment worlds. So it gives a great diversification opportunity for investors in general to build wealth for themselves. But also, I think there's a really big another reason, which is by angel investing, a lot of people are seeing a fulfillment of actually shaping the future. So what really happens here is the dreamers, creators, businessmen are trying to create the next innovation, shape the future by creating certain type of businesses. And what all of them need is a lot of times seed capital to get that started. So angel investors get that unique position, unique seats to actually be kind of deciding what kind of innovation gets a go and which one doesn't, what kind of people get the money and who doesn't. So there's this powerful, fulfilling element in it of like being part of shaping the future and building the kind of future we want to be part of. So there's like the other reason why investors get in here.
Well, I see you're good at selling this idea. I hadn't really thought of it that way. Now, a question. So one of the things that you were talking about balancing and de-risking their investment portfolio. But historically, aren't startups an inherently very risky investment choice?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is a really risky asset class, and it's really not for initial wealth building. So this is something that people get into at a certain stage in their career and let's say investment journey. So it's probably not the first choice of like, if you have a little bit of savings, this is not the first choice of where you go. You go to angel investing when you can afford to lose and you can afford to wait. But the upside of startups is that while any other asset class, or not any, but generally other asset classes give you this growth opportunity, startup investing, specifically angel investing in early stages, gives this infinite growth opportunity, which if you find a good, right startup with the right team and everything, all the stars align, this can be really like, there is no limit to how big a company can grow. So even though it's really high risk, there is a really, really big potential reward waiting if everything gets done in the process correctly.
Okay, well, let me move on to this question then. When I started to do angel investing about 15, 20 years ago here in Barcelona, and I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money because there wasn't an ecosystem. There wasn't somebody who could really, I thought, be a mentor to me, because I did a lot of my own due diligence. And as much as I did, I still failed at a lot of stuff. I was used to doing due diligence with companies that had a lot more information available in the market. They were listed publicly, or they're just big companies. And sometimes trying to do due diligence on a early stage industry disrupting startup can be very hard.
Absolutely.
One thing I was thankful for was by a very big investor here in Barcelona, by a man by the name of Mr. Carlos Blanco, who told me that if I wasn't prepared to lose $100,000 to walk away, because that's you need to be, as going back to your point, you need to be able to prepare to lose something like that and not be financially set back in your personal life. So actually, that was actually very good investment advice from Carlos to me.
Absolutely. Can I add something to that? So just
Yeah.
because you bring up the number 100,000, and there's a lot of mystery about what are angel investors putting, or like how much money are they investing, losing, and so on. I do want to point out that the 100,000, just as a figure, abstract from your particular situation, a lot of people think that like they need to like that's the numbers we are playing with here in angel investing, but actually the truth is a lot of the angel investing happens in a lot smaller numbers. When we talk about losing like 100,000, we're thinking about that's probably losing in 10 startups, not in one that you put all of that in one, but like you probably put it in smaller pieces, hopefully in your case also, and then the startup mortality rate is high. So yes, just making sure that the number 100K or like a million doesn't come in one chunk. It's probably a lot smaller pieces than that.
No, I think that's a very good point. I'm glad that you brought it up, because now it has been normalized to invest in smaller amounts. But back when I was starting to do it, small tickets didn't really seem to exist. And of course, it was a much less, not that we're a very mature ecosystem here when it comes to startup, we're way behind some other markets in the world, but we've come a long way in a very short period of time. And now you can find opportunities where a number of people will get together and invest, pool a bunch of angel investors and then invest together smaller amounts, but in different opportunities. but it was really hard to find those before. And I remember just negotiating to try to get 30,000 euros. My God, you could spend 6 months just trying to get the entrepreneur to accept a 30,000 euro commitment for equity in their company. For some companies, that's a lifetime for an entrepreneur. And the number 100K, by Carlos at the time was kind of scary, but he actually wasn't far off the mark, at least for that period of time. And no, I think it's really interesting that you bring that up, because there are a lot more tickets now available. And I think a lot of it has to do with the kind of organization that you're bringing to our ecosystem. So it's a huge help. On that point, let's get to your methodology. The Startup Investor Accelerator has a unique methodology so we can de-risk investing in high-risk companies, but still at a very manageable way. How do you do that?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. I want to kind of connect this to the previous point you brought up. The fact that more people are entering into angel investing space really creates more opportunities for more people to enter. Because if you were just alone trying to put 30K, you weren't it was being hard. If there were 3 other people trying to put 30K, you could probably, the 3 of you, make a 90K ticket and make that step together. Just illustrating what you were saying, more in simpler terms. And so a lot of the new people entering into angel investing world creates that opportunity for other small ticket people. So the unique methodology that we are playing with, but maybe before methodology, let me tell you what we do, and then tell about the methodology. So we bring new angel investors into the ecosystem by actually training them how to do all the steps that you mentioned, that was hard, like doing the due diligence, analyzing a company, understanding what aspects to pay attention to, understanding per startup what's the risk that is going to kill that company, and really learning this process of how do you make the investment from the day that you meet an entrepreneur in a random event, I guess, to signing that check and signing under that deal terms. How do you go from one step to the other, or the whole process? So we train people to be able to complete that, and also build their investment thesis and investor portfolio and profile. And the methodology that we are using is specific here. It has been invented by John Seacrest, which is instead of doing academic training of telling people what they're supposed to do, we do this learning by doing hands-on experiences with a group of angel investors, where we bring a group of angel investors who each of them commits a small ticket. And with this commitment of small tickets, we make one big ticket. And in order for us to learn how to invest, we actually start investing. So we take a big group of startups and start analyzing them. And in the process of analyzing, look at every single detail and have a conversation about them, and look at the risks from 360 degree, from different profiles, but also from different angles, like anything from financial to technological to the team to everything. So we basically cover everything, but in a group setting and in a learning by doing manner instead of academic training, basically.
Okay, let me ask you this: when you say small tickets, how small?
As small as 5,000. Actually, our ticket commitment is 5,000, which is and I have a specific number calculation for this 5,000. But let's say 40 investors together makes 200,000 with 5,000. So we are investing as a group 200,000, but each person's personal risk is small as 5,000 in investing. And the 5,000 actually comes from somewhere specific. That to become a successful angel investor, to have a reasonable returns, you need to have a portfolio that is 20 to 40 startups or more. So we took this number from United States, which is, in order to be allowed to invest, you need to be a millionaire, right? You need to have $1 million net worth. To invest in startups, you should be probably investing 10% of that, not more. So 10% of 1 million is 100,000. Let's say we need to be in 20 startup investments. So 100,000 divided by 20, that's 5,000 each ticket. So unless a person's net worth is significantly higher than the 1 million, they shouldn't be investing more than 5,000 per startup. But the truth is, what you were saying, no startup really wants the 5,000. Now, how do you get your 5,000 into a startup? The answer is group investing. And for that, we are doing this learning how to work in a group with a small ticket, early stage angel investing.
Okay, so there's a methodology to the madness. Now I understand it. I didn't know where it was coming from. The other thing that I wanted to ask you is then, so what is the goal of the Startup Investor Accelerator?
So it has both sides. So the overall goal is to help the economy to move forward by fueling these early stage innovations and startups, because jobs get created by creating new businesses. Our lives move forward, everything improves with all these new things being built. So all of these things need an investment at a certain stage to be built to happen in the world. So that's the overarching goal, is to create an opportunity for that to happen, because without angel investors, that happens a lot slower or doesn't happen. So angel investors are a key to a lot of the innovation happening in the ecosystem. The more specific or like smaller goals are, or the way that we get there, is bringing qualified professionals who do have the wealth and do have the mental ability of being an angel investor into the angel investor ecosystem, and making that transition easy for them to take the step and give it a try. A lot of times people are not angel investing because they don't even know that that was available for them, or that's something they could learn how to do. It's this mystical thing of some unique, ridiculously wealthy people's thing, but it's actually a lot more attainable than a lot of people think. So our goal is to build that awareness and help people make the step into the ecosystem and give it a try.
Wow, okay, now I understand what you guys are doing a little bit better. Thank you for that. Very clear. So how does it work? So if I wanted to invest, because I might have 5,000 euros to invest. So if I wanted to join the Startup Investor Accelerator, how does that work?
Great. Well, I would first need to understand your reasons for that. But I guess in your case, that would be quite clear. So we actually have a very simple process in this. Angel investors sign up separately, startups sign up separately. And once there's a quick interview process with us to just bring the right group of investors together per cohort to just create a matching profiles and the complementary skills in a group. So it's just a quick conversation with me or one of my colleagues, and boom, a person is in. As soon as a person is accepted into the program, then we do 2 programs a year. They can join either one of them. The program is like a 3-month. It's 16 sessions, once a week sessions. Just needs to show up per session and do the work as we go and enjoy the ride.
So you said, I want to clarify this because did you say 16 sessions?
Yes.
And it's once a week?
Yes.
So that's 4 months?
3 months.
That doesn't add up.
You caught me. There are 2 or 3 sessions that we do twice a week.
I see. Okay.
And the long ones we cut in half to make it more digestible.
Okay, I wasn't trying to
No, you're really good at math. I like it. You're listening to me actually.
And so, so in about 4 months, one would be ready to go. And so
one would actually have invested. So it's not we're preparing them to go. They actually make the step during the program, learn the whole process. And moreover, we do a post-investment review with them. And of course, after the investment is done, we are also present there to make sure that everything is moving forward. And actually, in our case, we also cover all the costs or lifetime expenses of that investment. So we are present, available for that. But yeah, it's taking the step, basically.
Okay. Well, then I had another question. That's the process for participating with other SIA investors into a startup. So you learn to do this together. Mm-hmm. What does it cost to be part of your group? Of course, you must have some sort of charge.
Right. So we do something special. We don't charge neither commission nor interest, nothing. We are an educational program, fee-based program, and at the moment, for a limited more time, our program fee is 1,000 USD.
So if I wanted to join, I would pay €1,000 for an educational session of 4 or 3 months, and then that's it. Just €1,000.
That's it. Not only the educational session, but also making the investment and taking the step. Making the investment included. So we cover also the investment costs, like, creating an SPV, the legal costs, and everything else included.
I see.
Actually, our prices will be going up. This will be announced sometime soon. So it's $1,000 at the moment for a limited more time.
All right. And so talk to me about deal flow. How can, if I participate with you, I would imagine that there's a structured approach to selecting which companies we might choose to invest in.
Right.
So how do you find these companies?
Okay, I'll tell you how we find the companies. But before that, let me tell you that the companies that we find and bring to the program are not really deeply filtered for a specific reason. We bring a really interesting group of companies into the program. At the beginning, it's like 60 to 80 companies, and let the investors learn how to notice the risks, the startups that are not investable, the flaws in business models, and all of that. So the participating startups, actually, at the beginning, we take a really big group and make sure it's an interesting selection, and it reflects well the whole ecosystem and the reality of the world, so that when the investors are out there actually talking to startups, it's not like, oh my god, so different than what we saw in the program. So we have active and passive channels. We get startups referred to us, and we also go after them when we find them interesting. But deal flow exchange is a big thing in the startup ecosystem, but also we have been around for 15 years. So we have a quite established traction of startups globally applying for the program.
Okay. That's another question I have. The startups that you choose, they're not necessarily from Barcelona. They're from other areas?
Yeah. The whole program is held internationally. This is very important because the whole, a startup needs to grow outside of their borders to become anything scalable or, even investment worthy, right? So if startup needs to grow, then investors also need to understand the world, to understand if this startup is going to grow globally or not. So for us to understand that well, we bring investors from all corners of the world. So when we are analyzing a startup, it's not just one perspective. Let's say we are now in Barcelona, right? It's not just the Barcelona perspective of the startup ecosystem or what's good. It's a global perspective from all the different participating investors of what's actually scalable, what's actually trending, what's actually demanded in the different ecosystems. This diverse investor profiles participating helps us really see the startup from more diverse angles and see their potential more deeply, or notice risks more precisely.
Okay, I'm glad I asked that question, because I thought you were investing basically with local companies so that the angel investors could actually go and meet the investors quite easily. I had understood, perhaps to my, maybe I'm wrong, that there's the 60-mile rule with angel investors. That
used to be.
Okay, or 60 miles or 60 minutes. You can travel within 60 minutes to meet the
exactly 60 minutes drive circle. Exactly, that was there when I was fundraising, like that was there in my previous life as a startup entrepreneur. But now, actually, past COVID, things have changed a lot. Now we have in the transatlantic program, like the European program that I run, we have done 15 investments in the last 3 years. We haven't personally met any of the startups at the point of making an investment. Everything has been done over Zoom, sharing documentation in whatever platforms that we choose to share, but like everything is being done digitally. And it's like an industry standard at the moment.
Okay, then I have another question. Once you go through the program at the Startup Investor Accelerator, do you continue investing with the same people? Is there a fund? Is there a vehicle so people can continue taking advantage of the fact that you do all this, I guess, pre-selection criteria of startups around the world? or basically I'm in and then I'm out, and then I just got to figure out my own deal flow?
Right. So, given that our goal is to help launch people into the ecosystem, our goal is that during the program, they really shape their investment thesis, understand who are they as an investor, what's their risk profile, what are the things that speak to them. Also, understand what kind of people do they want to work with. Because we bring a big group of angel investors, and there is solo learning part, but also teamwork and the working together part, they get to experience working with different investors, their personalities, and the experience. The goal is for them to see who they are and who is everyone else and who do they want to work with. Once the program finishes, there are different options. Some people do the program like 3 to 5 times. This is quite normal because it's not an academic learning. Every time the investors are different, startups are different, so the conversation is different. So there's more to learn. So this happens a few times, and then because people get to build relationships with each other quite precisely, once they finish, a lot of them make small groups and make investments together. Like maybe 5 of them or 10 of them make a small chat, small group, and like just come together. It's like, I like you, you like me, I like how you look at the things, you have complementary skills. Okay, let's share our deal flow and let's invest together. So that happens quite a lot. But also something that we precisely work for and really hope is that people will become lead investor type people and they will take leadership roles. So per program, we train one person to be a lead investor, and they play a lead investor role inside of the program, and then several leaders assistants who kind of are leaders in training. So a lot, like we have quite a few successful cases of people finishing the program and starting a venture capital fund, an angel network, or something of that sort. So we really encourage and support extra to this kind of leader profiles who want to take it to the next step. Actually, lead investor profiles are very important in the ecosystem because every startup raising fund, it's so much easier when they find a lead investor who helps them first shape the deal and then helps onboard other investors and like says, okay, let's do this. So these lead investor profiles are really, really important for the ecosystem, and also they bring a different maybe niche interest to the conversation and give more opportunity to diverse companies. The goal is to build that, but then not everyone wants to spend the time to be a lead investor or build something of their own. And to them, we help get them introduced to different funds, angel networks, or whatever based on their profile of what kind of risk they want to take. Then we make the appropriate introductions for them to take the next step.
Okay, then I have one last question, and you can share anything you want, but here's my last question. So if I have a startup, and I want the investor accelerator to consider my company to be a candidate for people to invest in, how do I do that?
Oh, so we have a very simple application program process for startups. All startups are welcome as long as they are below 10 million valuation. A lot of the startups choose to book a call with me to have a conversation about the fundraising process and support. It's free, and I'm happy in the ecosystem just to have conversations with everyone. But it's just an application form they fill up and they're in.
Okay. Well, I lied. I have another question.
Let's go for it.
This is actually very informative. Thank you so much. Shucks, I had a question. It escaped my head. Oh, shucks. We were talking about startup and to the end for a second. Oh, no, Astrid. I'm trying to think of my question.
No worries. You can ask me something else, and then I'm sure we'll come back.
Well, actually, here's the thing. What is the biggest challenge for the Startup Investor Accelerator program at the moment? What's your biggest challenge? And I had a follow-up to that.
Oh, biggest challenge. It's hard to categorize like what's a challenge and what is something that is hard to do. So the harder thing that we do, this is not a challenge. That's what we do, is actually appearing like getting to talk to people who do not even know that this is something they could consider. Like the people that we bring into angel investing world are not yet angel investors. So finding the right people to talk to and catching their attention to actually share, see who they are, where they stand, and show them a path, because it's a very, like, it's a change of paradigm a lot of times that we do, like change of mentality, like let them consider something they've never considered before type of thing. That's probably the most energy consuming activity that we accomplish in order to make this happen.
Well, over the last 2 years, I've seen your network grow very quickly. You're doing a
Yes,
fantastic job at it.
I've been
Um,
lucky.
how does who's your ideal, say, customer?
Mm.
If Metropolitan or I personally could identify potential leads for people to join your program, who would that be?
Right. So it would be coined in their psychology and current like state of mind and mindset. So anyone that is looking into growing, expanding, in this interested in the startup ecosystem, but perhaps not from a founder side, but maybe is interested in participating in other ways. This is the other way a lot of times. So open-minded professionals who have something to bring to the startup ecosystem, like knowledge, expertise of certain topics, and that have the wealth, of course, to be investing in startups.
Okay,
Demographically, that's a diverse profile. Generally, it's mid-career professionals.
mid-career professionals. All right, give me a little bit more information. We're huge here on supporting women
Oh,
in their careers, in switching careers. What is the makeup of, like, say, angel investors, men versus women? And do you see this changing? Because I see women now that have careers, they save more money, they have more to play with. Um, do you see a change in the composition of male and women in the last few years that you've been doing this?
there's the set statistics that the number of angel investors are 10% in Europe compared to the other 90% being men. Like, this is something that is unacceptable. But in our programs, actually, we have like about 30%, 30, getting close to 40% women investor participants, which we are really happy about. Like that's increasing, but it takes a lot of effort. I want things now. When I want things, I want them now. And then maybe they are changing. No, the truth is they are changing. There's a lot of conversation around this. So I'm happy how much like we're talking about this. This has become a thing that we are aware and we're working towards. Also, us as a company, I'll tell you shortly. But it's not fully there yet. It's like I want the equality now, and it's not there. So until then, I'm impatient. About that, we actually have partnered up with Impulse for Women. It's a really reputable, nonprofit organization helping women founders and women professionals in general. And with them, we are hosting a women investor training program, and we'll be
Cool.
investing in female-led startups and startups in sustainability field. So this is something coming up this year, end of this year, and I'm really, really excited. Like, it personally connects with me a lot. So shout out to Impulse for Women for initiating this and making this happen.
Fantastic. Well, I have like 50 more questions, but I think we'll end it here, and maybe we'll do another one. And I wanted to just be upfront. I would love to be in a position to help you. So let us know how we can promote your women and getting involved in investment, angel investing, I should say. And if there's something else that we can do for you, don't be shy. After, please let us know. It's always lovely to see you in person, and it's kind of cool to see you here on video. And normally it's the other way around. I know a lot of people on video, and I never see them in person. And now, there's a lot of cool stuff going. The ecosystem is going very quickly, and we tend to be in many of the same events. So if there's something that we can help you with, please let us know. After that, I love the work that you guys are doing, and if there's something that we can do that I'm not aware of, if it's in my position, I would love to help you.
Thank you so much. How much I appreciate that kind thought and offering your help. And thank you so much for bringing me here. It's a great opportunity for me to talk to more of the Metropolitan audience. And thanks for doing the great work you're doing to bring visibility to everything happening in the ecosystem. Really appreciate it. And it's as a foreigner living in Barcelona, this is like a place where we all belong. So thanks for creating it.
You're very welcome. All righty. Well, I'll see you soon. Actually,
Thank you.
I'll end it, but don't hang up yet, okay? I want to take
Okay.
a picture of you and I afterwards.
Sounds good. I'll